The Justin Robert Young program brought to you as always by everybody who supports us at PayJuryDaily.com. It is the beginning of the month. I want to thank everybody who supported us last month. We're doing a little drive to see whether or not we can get a little traction here on Jury Daily. I think we have some big stuff in the works to sweeten everything up for you guys. But if you want to be in there early, you want to make sure that you support this show that is with you on a regular basis, well, then head on over there. PayJuryDaily.com. And I'm heading to Austin tomorrow, and the reason why is because on Saturday we're doing a big, fat, honkin' show. South by So Wasted 2019. Tickets available now at podcastlink.com/Night Attack. Just seriously, trigger your phone, voice assistant, and just say podcastlink.com/Night Attack, and you're going to go ahead and get to the tickets. We already got a great crowd showing up. Please make sure you get your tickets before day of because the price goes up if you walk up and try to pay cash. So head on over there right now. Again, that is podcastlink.com/Night Attack. South by So Wasted 2019 will feature Night Attack, Ice Cream Social, musical performances by the Possum Posse and Dual Core, and special guests up to and including Tom Merritt, the Whiskey Tribe, and Andrew Heaton. Enough talking about how we support the show, though. What do you say we just do the damn thing?
On the day that we met on the internet, I asked her for a photograph.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is your old pal, Justin Robert Young. I'm here for you. We got a lot to talk about here today. We got a great news story. We have some bonus neon signs. We didn't have a lot of email today, but we did have some straggler neon sign stories, so I'll be able to read those there for you today. But first, some real quick housekeeping. Well, you want to know what this kind of works into it. So tomorrow's my birthday. My birthday is March 5th. Cinco de Marzo. It's a holiday I briefly tried to get off the ground to mixed results. But look, it's always one of those things. You know, birthdays. And I feel like adult birthdays are different. They're different than kid birthdays. They're different than adolescent birthdays. At a certain point, and I don't know, maybe this changes. I'm willing to hear from you guys on this. JuRyDaily@gmail.com. I kind of feel like, well, when I was a kid, the birthday was great because you got shit, right? You got presents, some shit that you wanted in life. All of a sudden, your parents give it to you. Your grandma gives it to you. Your friends give it to you. And you get to have a party where you hang out with your friends, but let's be real. You're a fucking kid. All you do is hang out with your friends. Maybe this time you just get to go to the place that you like to go to the most. You know, and then you have your adolescent birthdays. These are important, right? Because many of them involve significant life upgrades. You know, either they're just like these markers in the sand where your parents let you do something. Because everything's always tied to how old you are when you're a kid. Well, when you're 13, you're allowed to do this. You know, so you pass those mile markers, and now all of a sudden you get additional responsibility. And that's not just with your parents, right? That's the state. The state has decided that on your birthday, you are now available to do something like that. So 15, you get your learner's permit. 16, you get your driver's license. Bleep, blop, blue. Now, that reaches all the way up to 18 and 21. 18, you get to do most of the adult shit. 21, here in America, you're allowed to drink. Although, to be honest, you're probably drinking a little bit before that. So, past 21, really the last bastion of your age getting in your way is 25 with rental cars. They charge you a lot more to be less than 25 in a rental car. But past that, the state pretty much is off your back. And nobody really gives a shit if you're like, oh, are you a 25-year-old doing this or are you a 35-year-old doing this? Nobody cares. Unless to say that, youth is important, right? Somebody, a 25-year-old is less likely to do certain things than a 35-year-old is. And usually that results in settling down and having kids. So the adult birthday, and I'm here for all my 40-year-old, my 40 plus, my 50 plus, my 60 plus people. You please email in jurydaily@gmail.com. You let me know what your birthday rituals are. Birthday rituals. This is what I want. So I'm going to tell y'all my birthday ritual. This is something that I'm going to process through tomorrow, and I've been thinking about for the last few weeks. And I'm pretty sure, if I was being honest, I think I first got this from Andrew Main. It's nothing complex, but it is important, I think. I look at where my life was a year ago, and I see where it is now, and I recognize the change. I Marie Kondo honor the change, and I see what accomplishments I've done, what things I like to do that I've done more of. And really, if I'm going to be honest, I look at where I am in my career and I say, okay, well, did I make significant strides this year compared to last year? And I would say that this year was certainly a good step forward. There were things that I started doing that I think are meaningful, important steps to me becoming the person that I want to be, the entertainer that I want to be, the podcaster that I want to be. I want to be able to be somebody that you guys are proud of, that you guys spread the word to your friends, that say, you want to know what my favorite show is? JuRY Daily, or Politics, or Night Attack, whatever. Whatever the thing is that scratches your itch, I want to be there to do it. That's the goal. The goal is to grow this community. The goal is for me to have a career on my own terms. And also probably to make some money. I would like to also make some money. That being said, it's a ritual that I stick to. Because I think very often, and this is, I'm gonna speak for me, but I do think on some level it's a universal truth, that some of us are wired to count the misses instead of the hits. Right? To look at all the screw-ups we've had in our lives, and we enshrine those, and we don't think about, oh, that was a cool thing. I liked doing that. That was nice. Now, I'm very guilty of this. In fact, through my adolescence and 20s, I very much convinced myself that self-loathing was my superpower. And in a weird way, self-loathing helped give me self-esteem. Like, there was a very important psychological turning point in my own life where I had to understand that the voice inside my head that was going to tear myself down or make myself feel bad wasn't going away. There was no magical point. There was no magical element of my life where I would just turn a corner and I wouldn't be critical of myself. So instead, I decided that I was going to offer it a job. This was kind of the metaphor I had, is that instead of, it's one thing if you're building, I looked at it like this, psychologically. You can look at self-loathing as something that you need to hide yourself from. But I think that that's an unnecessary, if not impossible, division of oneself. So, for example, whenever somebody's feeling down about themselves and somebody says, hey, don't feel down about yourself, I've always found that to be a fundamentally useless a piece of advice. I found it useless when people would tell me that. Largely because it's like, no, I'm me. The call is coming from inside the house. I can't not do it. I can not tell you that I'm doing it, but that doesn't help. So I sort of developed to myself like, okay, well, the only thing that matters then is sorting out, because that's the other thing about self-loathing, is that on one hand, it's very important to not tear yourself down too much, but self-loathing can also be pretty helpful. It can be pretty good. It can point out mistakes. It can force you to do that second draft. It can make sure that you give it that extra look before you send it out into the world. It can very often save your bacon. So, I decided to offer my self-loathing a job. And that job was, hey, look, we're going to meet regularly, me and my self-loathing. And we're just going to understand, like, hey, look, I'm here for you. Maybe the problem is that I am making myself not emotionally available within myself. Now, I'm going to come off as a crazy person, okay? I know that many of you are hearing me and you're like, Justin, what the fuck are you talking about? But I'm trying to just imagine, because this is how I used to visualize it. The metaphor is I'm sitting down at a table with kind of like in the silhouette of like Oogie Boogie Man from the Nightmare Before Christmas. But just in like matte black. Like take that silhouette. So it's me sitting across from my self-loathing. And I'm like, hey, look, maybe the issue here is that I'm trying to build these walls and I'm not, I'm trying to get as far away from you as possible. And so you have to shout louder. And so I hear it. And no matter how many walls I build, there's going to be an element of self-loathing. So how about we take down all the walls? How about I just sit and I'm regularly checking in with my self-loathing on a constant basis? Yeah, I am open to this. And a couple things happen. Number one, it gave me the armor to deal with people online. And I did not realize exactly how much that was going to be really, really important the longer that I spent as a public figure on the internet. Because, man, I'll tell you what, especially, well, really, like whenever you're on the internet and people will have the ability to just like deflate your mood in a few careless keystrokes. Oh, man, it is a lifesaver to know that they're not as mean to you as you are to yourself. Oh, my God. There's so many times that I've read stuff and I'm like, man, that would hurt if I hadn't said something worse. Now it's just, a poor copy of a copy. And the other thing is that it really diminished the use of self-loathing. It clarified what it really was in my brain, which was, criticism, self-criticism. Self-criticism is great. I do think that it's important. I used to think of it as Satan is my motor, like that Cake song. That there's always an element of I don't want to fail because I'm afraid I'll fulfill this prophecy that I'm a failure. That makes me want to do more. Makes me want to keep going. That makes me want to work harder. That makes me want to not miss stuff. That makes me want to do the next level of thing. And slowly but surely I realized that it wasn't necessarily a fear, or it didn't have to be. I could want to be better because I just wanted to be better. But it helped going through that process. So now I try to enshrine that moment. I enshrine that moment every year. I think back to what I've done, and I will say this. I want to thank all of you for being with me, because everything that I have done over this past year is really in service to you, the audience. I've done more live shows and you guys have shown up for it. We did our first Night Attack tour, and you guys showed up for it. We're doing this big show in Austin over the weekend, and you guys, by the ticket count, are showing up for it. I want to do more. I want to keep going. I want to be the best podcast host I can be for you guys, and that's what I will be thinking about on my birthday. Now, what I won't be doing on my birthday is doing a show. I got to fly to Austin, and so I've just decided to give myself my Cinco de Marzo holiday. I will be back with a podcast on Wednesday and Thursday. However, it may or may not be live depending on what the studio situation is going to be. But that's not for another 24 hours. What do you say? In between then and now, we go ahead and do the news. All right. That son of a bitch. And now all I can think of is the one guy who says he can accurately predict every single time that I am going to forget to. I'm going to forget to hit the off button on the sound effect. All right, here's the story today. Western New York man faked abduction to avoid Super Bowl payout. All right. I need you guys to understand something very, very serious here. This is the story of a man who concocted an elaborate ruse as a way of getting out of an elaborate ruse. Newfane, New York is the dateline here. Patrick Lohman writing for Syracuse.com. A North Towanda man's elaborate scheme to avoid paying out thousands of dollars in Super Bowl bets unraveled this weekend shortly after troopers found him tied up with duct tape inside of his own car at a Tops parking lot. Police found Robert Brandel, 60, around 2:40 p.m. inside his blue Ford F-150 truck on the 3900 block of Lockport, Alcott Road in Newfane. He was in the back seat with rope tied around his neck and the other end tied to the headrest. Duct tape was wrapped around his hands and ankles. He then spun a bizarre tale for troopers who began an abduction and robbery investigation. Brandel told police that he picked up two men in his truck on February 25th who had placed bets on a Super Bowl pool. The men brandished a pistol and stole $16,000 in cash he had won from the payout of the pool, Brandel told reporters. Brandel claimed that the pair made him drive around to various places in western New York against his will, eventually leaving him tied up in a Tops parking lot, according to New York State Police. But that wasn't exactly what happened. Now, was it, Mr. Brandel? No. He'd made the whole thing up. Now, before we get to what his scheme was, you guys can all take a wild guess as to how this breaks down. But I will say this. I didn't really even get his scheme. So he's saying that he picked people up and then told them that he had won a Super Bowl pool, and then the guys stole the $16,000 in cash from him, but they had already been on it. Yeah, okay. I didn't really get it. And to be honest, the story could be written a little better. But we're not going to focus on that. Here's exactly what happened. Again, I told you, he made up that elaborate ruse to get himself out of another elaborate ruse. Here was the first elaborate ruse. Brandel had run a $50,000 payout Super Bowl pool in which he made up names in some of the squares, hoping that he would win and take most of the winnings. So if you're not aware, if this is a box pool, basically you buy boxes, and he did a high value box pool, a $50,000 box pool, and made up a bunch of the names inside of it. So push comes to shove, since he's the bank, He just collects what everybody else paid in. They don't realize that he's half the squares, yada, yada, yada. It is certainly a heady play, and it is gambling to the highest order because there's no actual scam here, aside from the fact that he's padding the numbers. The numbers still have to come in your favor. So here's what he did. He put in most of the names. It didn't play out as planned, and now Mr. Brandel owed most of the $50,000 because he was half the squares. So somebody's like, awesome! I won $50,000 in this pool! Give me that money! And he's like, oh, shit. I guess he had $16,000. So of the of the $50,000, let's just assume that's 50 squares, he had 16,000. That's all he had. The rest was him. That was dead money that would pay him the $16,000. So he tries to figure it out and he can't. Let's get a good look. That's the face of a man. Robert Brandel, picked up by New York State troopers, who tried to ruseception his way to a sweet payday. I'm sorry, Mr. Brandel, but you, my friend, are pretty fucking dumb. I want to thank another Jay Martin in the Discord for putting this story in there. I'm going to start taking more of these stories from the Discord because I love what you guys are bringing. So head on over to join our Discord, bit.ly/JuRY Discord. But until then, let's go ahead and do the emails. Emails. All right, like I told you guys, we have some bonus neon signs. Anonymous writes, might be late to the party, but back in university, I used to share a flat with female medical students. This introduced me to their wider circle of friends, one of which I had a massive thing for. She was cute, intelligent, and I kind of obsessed about her. We hung out regularly, including nights out and dinners at her place, and discussed all manner of topics, including quite personal ones. On one of those nights, she offered me a head massage. My brain did not make the connection with earlier conversations about how she used head massages as a technique to get close to guys she was attracted to and wanted to initiate sex with. She then told me that she liked a guy at work, and did I think she should ask him out on a date? I once again made no association with her giving the permission to go for it, and told her I thought it was a great idea, as she had been single for a long time. This dawned on me 6 months later when she was hooked up with a guy and moved halfway across the world with him. It was literally a sit-up-in-bed screaming moment. I still think about it. If it helps, I'm white, British, and 47. And finally, Travers writes, so I have 2 neon signs. One took place when I was working at Musicland in the late 90s when I was 16. It was a Sunday, and these 2 girls I went to school with came in. One was dating one of my best friends, and the other girl was single to my memory. I was pricing items, and the one girl put a price sticker on the other girl's tit, and then she looked up and said, hey, look, I'm for sale. I just laughed and went back to work. This girl was my type, dorky, dark hair with long bangs covering her face. The other one happened you want to know what? Also, I'm just saying, homie, that one might not have been a total neon sign. I mean, like high school girls put fucking, they're playing around. I wouldn't beat yourself up too much on that. The other one happened a few years later, and this very good-looking girl, she was hot, that all my friends had a crush on, said she was working at the same mall. I would see and talk to her just about every day. One day, she was off work just shopping, and I was hanging out with my friends at the time, and I ran into her, and she gave me a kiss on the cheek. And what did this dumbass do? That's right. I rubbed it off and said, my girlfriend's right over there. Now, Travis, I do have a follow-up question. Was your girlfriend right over there? Because if your girlfriend was right over there, then that's fine. But that being said, if your girlfriend was not right over there, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, that is you just out and out telling her to fuck off. Anyway, you can go ahead and send in your emails, jurydaily@gmail.com. And again, I want your birthday rituals. I need birthday rituals from you guys. Specifically some when you were younger, when you were older. How do you handle your birthday? Do you like it? Do you hate it? How do you deal with it? That's what I want to know. I want to thank our producers. The Jen, PD Rave, Non-Specific Rock and Roll, Martian Joe Acosta, well, James the OG Brito, well, and Matthew B. Hey, I'm posting more and more to my Instagram stories. Go ahead and follow me at Justin R. Young. While you're at it, you can follow me on Twitter at Justin R. Young and Snapchat at Justin R. Young. You can join our Discord at bit.ly/jury Discord. Submit a story. Till next time, though, this is your old pal Justin Robert Young asking you very, very politely to please give Mr. Wacky a round of applause. But more than that, come on, man. Come on. Please, don't.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.